Thank you. Next, I recognize Ranking Member Markey for his questions.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Trump's tariffs, they've been thoughtless, they've been reckless, unpredictable, overly broad. They've caused economic uncertainty. As I already said, a 35% reduction in the number of huge containers coming into Massport, the port of New England, really, for the month of June. Just absolutely unbelievable. And it has a profound impact on small businesses and consumers all across the country. And it places small businesses at a competitive disadvantage. They're not able to weather the storm the way bigger companies are. Ms. Robbins, you are already a 100% U.S. manufacturer. But as you state in your testimony, it's entirely impractical for you to be able to manufacture all the raw materials and components that go into your final product in the United States, especially with the current tariffs. Can you describe why this would be near impossible at this time?
Thank you for your question, Senator. Yes, I'd be happy to. First of all, any type of investment like this would require months or years and a lot of money, and I don't have that time and I don't have that money right now, especially as I'm being taxed heavily. I can also share some data with you. One of my friendly competitors did an analysis on what it would take to reshore just one of the components that goes into a pedal. So this one that I have here behind these knobs is what's called a potentiometer. And they are used to adjust parameters on a pedal, such as tone, level, distortion, etc. So his annual volume on this part, he uses 130,000. So it's one of his most frequently used parts. And his current cost—
130,000 what?
Potentiometers.
Okay.
Okay.
Beautiful.
And his current cost is 22 cents, and his annual cost is $28,600. The analysis showed that the cost per part would be $3.75 for an annual cost of $487,500, over 17 times the cost.
For you?
For a company that was attempting to reshore a single part.
Mm-hmm.
So the tooling would be $238,000. That's 8 times the annual cost. And that's just one part of hundreds that go into an effect pedal. So he actually listed here the 9 different parts that go into making this. And I'd like to submit this for the record. And I'd like to thank John Cusack for providing me with this evidence today. Thank you.
Without objection, we'll have that entered into the record.
So, as you mentioned in your testimony, you were named SBA Exporter of the Year in 2019. So no one does it better than you. You're number one. And so now tariffs are imposed. So describe that in terms of the daily headaches that you're now confronting.
It's basically all we do now is try to navigate this environment. I'll tell you what I'm not doing. I'm not putting out new products. I'm not growing. I'm not thriving. I'm not hiring. I've actually canceled job openings. These are all things that I'm not doing. What I am doing is worrying, stressing, things changing from day to day, thinking over my employees and how they're dependent on our health care to manage their chronic conditions or chronic conditions of loved ones, thinking of my daughters and how they're relying on myself and my husband for our income to complete their education. This is what I'm doing. I'm not doing things that are productive.
Right. So President Trump's motto of short-term pain for long-term gain. So you're sitting there, you're short-term pain, but that short-term pain could turn into long-term pain for you. It could be an extinction event.
Absolutely.
It could be an obliteration event, not a liberation day, but an obliteration day, huh? If this goes on for too long. So do you really feel that he's picking winners and losers here? Apple gets a pass, other big companies get a pass, and you're down there trying to figure it out all by yourself.
I do. I do think that the disparity between large and small businesses has grown wider. I'm here publicly stating how poorly my business is doing while those companies are, meeting royalty in the Middle East. It's a huge disparity.
Yeah, do you have lawyers and lobbyists here in town helping your company?
No,
Does Apple? Yes.
yeah. They have
Does
departments.
Google? Yes, all these big companies, they do. You have no one here, except for this committee, actually. We're supposed to be your advocates to protect you. So you just think there's a disproportionate impact on you, huh?
That's correct. I do have some advocates. The Main Street Alliance is working hard to level the playing field and elevate the voices of small businesses, and I really appreciate their support. But it still does not compare to what the large companies have.
So do you keep a bottle of Pepto-Bismol now nearby as each day's stories, give you something else to think about and worry about?
As a small business owner, I'm used to navigating challenges.
Yeah.
I have excellent problem-solving and stress management skills, as you must, to be in this position. However, I just don't see solutions. They're just not immediately available, and I need immediate solutions. So, in my opinion, the only option is to rescind the tariffs, to pass the bill that you've mentioned, exempting small businesses. It's just not survivable. As you mentioned, I believe we're facing the mass extinction of small businesses. We are clinging to dear life. The reason you're not seeing bigger numbers of the fallout in the economy is because of folks like me that our house is on the line. We're going to do everything we can to save our businesses, to keep our employees employed. We're also not like big companies that we're going to slash jobs the moment the forecast change.
So just one final question. I appreciate your indulgence, Madam Chair. When the president announces that he's in the process of beginning to try to find an agreement with China, does that just lift the cloud off your head and all of a sudden you're feeling, instant relief? And what does that mean to you when you hear that they're trying to get a deal, they don't have a deal, and then there's still 179 countries left to go to get a deal with?
There's absolutely no relief. It just creates more confusion and uncertainty, and it actually creates some effects such as retail stores loading in on products from China in order to get things in before the tariffs theoretically go up even higher. That's what happened over the last month while there's been a break on the other reciprocal tariffs. So it absolutely doesn't help us. It just extends the period of uncertainty, and I really need to be making changes now, and I can't due to this uncertainty. In the U.S., where we sell to retailers, and it is our largest market, if you make a price increase, you really can't go backwards, and the more that you increase your price, the less competitive, the less affordable that you'll be to end users. And you really can't predict how much further your demand will fall when you raise prices. And it's certainly not something that you want to do repeatedly. So having something that I could plan for, we absorbed the 2018 tariffs. They were 25%. That was difficult, but we did it. What's going on now is absolutely so challenging. I don't know a way forward.
Yeah. So thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ranking Member